Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I know it was a little. You hear me now? Anybody hear me?
Yeah,
Good morning.
yeah, we hear you.
All right. So we're just trying out some little different things. We're trying out some different things this morning. We got a great episode this week. I don't know where our regular intro went, but our intro disappeared. I don't know what they did an update, but welcome to Landscaping to the Point. We have me today as your host, and we have our great other host underneath me, JC. Josh is being a prick. He's I don't know, he's probably still sleeping or something. I know you can hear me, Josh. So get your ass out of bed. Let's go. Let's get on here. We got some great stuff to talk about this week. It's been a great week this week. I don't know about you, JC. Has it been a good week over where you guys are at?
Yeah, surprisingly, it's been a pretty good week. I can't complain. I don't want to jinx it. Weather's been good, and I know we always start off talking about the weather and how whether it's crappy or if it's nice out, but it's been a little cooler. It's been manageable, and I've had a lot of time this week to get things that I needed to get done completed. So, yeah, life is good. Life is good right now.
That is good. I mean, it has been a nice week this week. I'm dreading next week. They're talking like 90s by me. It's been actually like kind of cooler in the morning, like 50s in the morning, and then like 75 to 85. So it's actually been pretty cool. But starting tomorrow, it's supposed to be 90 up to I think 95 by the end of the week. So nice. I am dreading that.
I like it.
I like it, but it's the humidity. When that huge humidity comes in, I hate the heck out of that. Like
the early mornings now with being cooler, that just means the start of grass growing season up again. That's when the grass is going to start flourishing.
Yeah, I mean we've seen ours is not stopped yet here, but I'm starting to see some of the yards are starting to turn brown now, so it's going to be different. RJ Landscaping on LLC on Instagram, welcome. He says there's been rain there all week in Alabama. Man, that sucked. I heard it's been raining a lot down south this year, and I don't know how you guys get it done in that cold and rainy weather. It's just hard sometimes. I know how that it is. So, but welcome you guys on Instagram. If you're watching us on YouTube, welcome. Noel Lawn Care is on. Welcome, Scott, and welcome you guys, everybody on. Thank you guys for watching and listening. So today we have a great topic. Okay. And I'm going to tell you kind of the premise on this topic, and then we're going to go off of it. These are what we're going to talk about today is about mistakes that we made in our life that have almost killed us. Okay. These things almost killed us. Like the topic's called Attacked by a Bear Cub. I was actually attacked by a bear cub. I'll tell you that. It's a story that it's going to throw your mind, and it's not like I threw meat on myself and I just went at it. Okay. But we got some great stories we're going to tell you, and then we're going to talk about them and see what we could have did differently to kind of maybe change things up. I mean, I could have did some things differently in my life, and it's a mistake that I learned, and now I got a scar on my leg to prove it. So I'm ready to tell it. So
that's badass.
Yeah, it is badass, and it's like I want to get it tattooed around it to kind of make it more prominent, and it's going to make it even better, I think.
Like what I want to know is if you got a scar on your leg, what did the bear receive? Did you kick the bear's ass?
I got rid of it. Let's just say that I got rid of it. I got rid of the bear cub
with his bare hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's say, okay, so attacked by a bear cub. I'm going to tell you guys a story. It's one of those stories that you're going to be like, what the? Okay. So literally I was mowing grass. Okay. Um, on a yard, my truck and trailer are off to the side. I had to run back to the trailer to get something. So I went to jump off the trailer, off the mower to get onto the trailer to grab something. I've done this many a times, and I really never thought nothing about it when it's a nice neighborhood, and nothing that would make you think it's weird, but I was in a hurry. And most of the times you shouldn't be in a hurry. You should kind of take your time and just take your second and do what you got to do. So I had a Cub Cadet mower at the time, zero turn, it's probably 2 years old. Had no issues with it before or anything. So I get to go up to the truck, throw it in park, put the parking brake on, jumped off of it, went to jump off of it. I grabbed the handle of the the mower. You got your driving handles. I grabbed the one mower handle and I slipped because my foot was on the edge of the by the tire. I slipped as I pulled, and the mower slammed my leg right up against the trailer and almost cut my leg off.
Oh,
Yeah, and I got wedged in there. As the mower's it's still going between me and the trailer for a while there. Lucky one of the guys seen it and came over and kind of helped push it away. And it just, I mean, the mower was like right up against my head, my leg, and the trailer. So it was pretty devastating. Let's just say that I got like a big old scar from it scraping up against the trailer and pushing it up against the trailer. And I was stuck there for a little bit more than what I should be. And that's why I call it attacked by a bear cub, because I tell everybody that I was attacked by a bear cub, because if you actually look at my leg and the scar, and even when I did get it in the pictures, it looked like some big bear cub hand just went and scraped across my leg. So it's a very interesting story, but what it helped me learn about that is turn your mower off. Like if you're in a hurry to get somewhere, like make sure you turn your mower off. Safety, brakes work, but they don't always work all the time. So don't go jumping off the mower and grab that handle. Just go ahead and just shut it off for a second. Like, what does it take? 5 seconds to turn the mower off? Like, it's one of those things that, I mean, it could have cut my leg off, really.
yeah.
I mean, I could have been one-legged person. I mean, I went for a week hobbling on it, and I'm not that kind of guy that likes to go to the hospitals or the doctors. So it was kind of interesting to have a big scar and all this stuff on me and scabs, and it bled for a while. So
That's crazy, man.
yeah, it's very the RG Landscape says I should get a Yogi Bear tattoo on it. It would be cool, but I think like the because if you look at it, it shows the good scar. It would look like if you scraped it and like kind of had somebody tattoo inside the scar, like the bones and stuff. That would make it look even good.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's gnarly, man.
yeah.
It's crazy. It's like it's when after something like that, like immediately after something like that happens, it's like what was your mindset? Like, did you stop, take a 10-minute, like a half-hour break? Did you just like quit for the day? Did you get back on it? Like, what'd you do?
I don't know. It was like towards the end of the day. It was like about 3 o'clock in the day. I know we had a couple more jobs, but it was one of those things. I was with two of my guys, I think it was, and I just kind of like I stopped and I was just like, what do I do at this point? They kind of kept going. They decided they wanted to keep going, but I wrapped the top shirt around it to kind of stop the bleeding, so it wasn't bleeding as much, and just kind of like wash it off with some water, and just I sat in the truck the rest of the day. Like, I know I didn't do much more. They did all the rest of the work, and it's about having the people there. I mean, if I would have been by myself, dude, I don't know. I would have probably been screwed at that point. Yeah. I mean, it was in my 30s. So I was young when I was younger, and it's like, I don't know. It's devastating. It makes you think really hard about what you're doing and what you're doing. And like I said, it was in a hurry, and it seems like every time when you're in a hurry, you kind of
Mm.
do something that's could be stupid. You could do something that, you're like, why did I make this mistake? But it's these death defying mistakes that make you really think hard. Should I have done that? Should I just stopped in the middle of the yard? And I mean, I can't
Sometimes you gotta
remember
call it
why I was
quits,
going
man.
back to the truck for, but it was something that I needed to get for either me or the other guy or something. I don't know why I was in a hurry to get back to the truck and jump off and onto the trailer,
Yeah.
you know?
It's crazy, man. It's like we all watch those reels on like Instagram or I don't have TikTok, but like you get like the Instagram and TikTok reels, and you see like these people mowing on like these hills or like near water,
Right.
and then they tip over, and it's funny,
Right.
because no one gets hurt, but sometimes we forget how serious those situations really could be. Like, yeah, they're all fun and games. That's the saying, right? You're all fun and games till
Right.
somebody's leg gets cut off.
Right.
But yeah, it's just a reminder of like nothing is so urgent enough that you need to put your safety in front of it.
No, no. I mean, these mowers, the mowers we drive, commercial mowers, residential mowers, even residential mowers, they're 500 pounds, dude. I mean, think of 500 pounds pushing against a leg, you're pushing against your body, laying on your body. I mean, these things are no joke. I mean, you get into the commercial ones, the new commercial one I got is 960 pounds. You can't lift that by yourself, you know.
Mm.
That flips over on you doing a hill or something. What are you gonna do? You're stuck. If you make it out of there, that's awesome. But what are you gonna do at that point? You know, Makes you really think, guys. Be careful, be safety. Just take your time. I mean, we're all in a hurry when we're out there, I feel sometimes. And because a lot of companies get into that mode where they need every job they can get because they need the money, they need whatever. Make sure you're pricing your stuff right to where you can sit back and say, hey, I can do this many jobs and be fine. This is what I need to make it by. I can make profit on everything. Don't be in that hurry to where you're taking, 40 jobs in one day and you take
Mm.
that one job with that hill and that mower flips over on you and you're gone. Or like you said, you lost a leg, you lose an arm. It's not worth it sometimes. So Jensen,
Yeah.
I know you got a story that, is going to be out there. And I want to hear your story. I'm very interested.
All right. Yeah, I have a few of them. I don't think they're anything really super crazy, but before I start, there was who would have been good for this is Justin from Spartan.
Yeah, I think he has some great stories.
Because he's in danger. I mean, we all are, but he's extremely in danger every day. He's up on a tree. He's dealing with chainsaws and stuff like that. And it's funny because I asked him one time. He told me about a situation where he got stuck in a tree, and I thought it was just like he was stuck. I didn't think like he was like hurt. So I thought it was kind of a funny story till he explained it. I was like, oh crap! Like I didn't mean it for him to to think that I was laughing at his story, but no, man, I've just done a lot. I think we've all done a lot of stupid things in life, and I bet you even after this podcast, once I get out in the yard today, I'll probably end up doing something stupid that I don't even realize that I did that put me in a risk. And sometimes we have to count our blessings every day. But one of my stories, I'll start off with the most boring one, I guess. When I bought my house, it was a new construction house, and it wasn't like I wouldn't say it was 100% completed after I bought it. Like there was a few things that needed to get done, like simple things, like window trims and some other stuff. Anyways, so the house didn't have shutters, and the windows were very like the board of them were thin. I was just like, you know what, this house needs shutters, and how hard could it be? I've never really installed them before, so of course I go to Home Depot and I buy enough to do the two front windows on the second floor, and then the one big window on the first floor in the front. So I go out and buy those plastic vinyl shutters, and I end up borrowing one of my friend's ladders. Now, I wouldn't say I'm necessarily afraid of heights, I don't like them, but I don't mind going up there. Um, and for those of you guys who have ever installed those, you have to drill a hole first, and then the plastic shutter comes like with this plastic peg that you kind of carefully hammer in, and then it kind of wedges itself, and that's what secures the shutter to the house. If you're not careful, you could bend that little peg, and once you bend it, you have to pull it out and put a new one in. So I had my mom with me, which is kind of funny. She just happened to be home, and I'm like, "Hey, mom, just stay at the bottom of the ladder. I'm going to go and install this. Just hold the ladder for me, like any good spotter would." And so I get up on the ladder and I bring the shutter and I drill the hole. Everything's a success. There's like 6 holes on each corner and 4 holes on each corner and 2 in the middle. So I get to the last one, and of course, the last one is always the biggest pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm kind of high up there, but I like when you're working and you're in that mindset, you forget that you're on a ladder really high off the ground because you're so
Right.
focused on what you're doing, the task at hand. So I drill the hole, everything's fine, and I start to hammer in the peg, and of course it bends on me, and I can't hammer it in anymore. So the only option left to do is to pull the peg out. And me being a moron, um, I'm like, yeah, I'll just pull it out. I had an extra one in my pocket, so I try to pull on it, and it's kind of stuck in there, and I'm like, crap, I like got to give it a little more haktua.
Right.
So I kind of put more muscle towards it. I pull the plug out and I pull it back with so much force that I'm doing the whole whoa, whoa, whoa,
Right.
and on the verge of falling off of this ladder. And man, had I fallen off that ladder, it would have been, I don't know, I would have been gone. There's
Right.
no other way there was no other outcome of that. Like I would
Right.
have hit rock and I would have hit concrete
Jeez.
or asphalt. And it's kind of crazy because my mom, while she was holding the ladder, she's kind of looking down at the ground, and I don't know what she was looking at, just paying attention. So she had no idea. I was like,
Right.
I was on the brink of death over here. So, so needless to say, I end up retaining my balance, and I'm just standing there. I'm like, it's like that moment after the fact that you come to that realization that you were at that near death situation and how dangerous it really was. So I'm kind of up there. Just I'm not afraid to come down because I'm like I'm already up there. So I kind of take a few minutes just to kind of compose myself, and then I get the last peg in there, and that was it. I mean, I actually didn't even tell her, but like I didn't make any noise. I was like, oh,
Right.
she must have thought I was trying to get the peg out of there just with some strength. But man, she had no idea because she was
Right.
looking down on the ground, and I was like, oh my goodness, man, I don't know what happened, but something saved me that day, man. That would have been bad.
Right. Do you think? Oh, see, sometimes like that, it makes you wonder, like when we were younger, because this was young, like years ago, correct?
Yeah, this was like 2016. Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, does it make you wonder? Like, I've done some shit that I probably shouldn't have done, like that, like ladder wise, going up on ladders and stuff. And now I kind of look at it and I look at certain things and I'm like, man, I used to climb that roof and, do the gutters. And now I'm like, I wouldn't do that again now. I
No.
mean, I'm close, higher up in age, but now I'm like, I ain't going up there. People are like, oh, you should do Christmas lights. Christmas lights are good. You just put a ladder. And I'm like, no, man,
Mhm.
like, if it's a 2-story house, I ain't doing that shit. Like that's too high up for me anymore. And so do you feel like the stuff we did when we were younger makes you think like, do I really want to do that? Do I really want to climb up that ladder? Do I want to do this? Do I want to do that? It really makes you think, I think sometimes, on what's going on, and that, I mean, yeah, that's scary, dude. That is really scary that like to be able to it's like it's just like no way, and everybody does it that way, and it's like, how do
Mm.
you prevent that? Like, there's no way to prevent it, you know?
It's crazy, man, because had that not have happened a few months ago, I hired someone to clean my gutters
Okay.
because they were in desperate need to be cleaned.
Right.
And had that not have happened, I know I would have tried to do that myself, and that would not have been a good idea because that was higher than than what the window was, and the roof is a lot more pitched.
Right.
And it's kind of a good thing that that happened to me, just to kind of it gave me a realization of what my limitation, my capacity is to be able to do something like that. And I just rather pay a professional to do it, than to save a few bucks, because man, I'd rather pay that. You can't put a price on your life, man. And
No, you
another
can't.
thing too, like people that are into that business that do that all the time, that could also be dangerous because they get complacent. Like they're so used to being up so high, or they're so used to doing this dangerous task. Maybe that's what happened with you.
Right.
You've been so used to doing that with the mower, or you felt confident enough in your ability to do it till you realized that it wasn't a good idea. And so the danger is always going to be there, no matter if you've been in the business for years or if you're starting off. Like, you have to be conscious about that.
Right. I think so. I mean, I think we get to that point where, like, you get in a hurry, or you do it once and it goes fine. So you're like, okay, I'll do it again. It's not a big deal. It's one of those things that, like I said, I feel like as I get older, I'm like, dude, I don't want to do that. I don't want, there's certain ponds that we do. And I remember just taking the mowers down as close as I could to these ponds. And now I'm like, I'll just weed whip that. I'm not going to take that mower down the way down there. Like, I don't want to have to drag that mower out of that pond anymore. Like, I feel like, it's cool to be able to get that mower all the way down there. But I look at the mowers and I'm like, it's not worth it. You know, Give me 10 more minutes. I'll weed whip around the pond and, I'm good. All these guys are like, oh, get the Z71 right. And, it's got the 2 tires and it'll drive you all the way down. Yeah, that's good that you got 2 tires on it and you want to get closer. But some of these steep hills, man, I don't want to put that mower in the pond. Like, it's not worth it.
And they don't realize sometimes, like, how wet that grass is. Like, it might look dry on the top layers, but underneath
Right.
it's wet and it's loose. And as soon as you put weight on it, the whole entire layer of grass just comes out. Like, yeah, it's you see those videos all the time. And not only, like, do you put your life on danger, now you're down a mower.
Right. Oh yeah. I mean, if you go back to my Instagram, guys, and you'll see that I did a stone job around a pond and with one of our mowers, and I'll tell you what, that was scary. But with using the mulch mate, we were able to dump it to where we were a little bit farther away from them ponds to be actually dump into it. Um, and I'll tell you what, if I didn't have the mulch mate, I probably wouldn't have done that. Even with a skid steer, that's one of those things that even a skid steer, you're going to get close to that pond. And I wouldn't even do it on some of those slopes, and luckily with that mulch mate, we were able to get far enough away from there. But I'll tell you what, every time we got close there, dude, we were always like, are we going to dump this in there, with all that weight of the stone in there or what, there's many times I was pulling back on those handles like, okay, let's hurry up and dump that stone because I don't want to push into the pond, so you got to be careful what you guys do. I mean, a lot of us just do it and don't think about it at the time. And sometimes you got to sit there and think about what you're doing and what the risks are than to say, hey, I got this job. I can do this. Like you said, Justin, with the trees, man, trees can be dangerous as all heck. They can go one way or another. And, I've done trees before that I've cut and I decided to cut above my head. And that was before I knew you shouldn't even bring a chainsaw above your head and have that come down and smack me in the back of the head. And dude, that could have killed me too, and it's one of those things, a helmet can save you, but that's not all it can do. I mean, there's a lot of things that if you're not safely doing it the right way and preparing it the right way, throwing that rope on it, making sure it's pulling one way, that's the only way you can really do it safely. And,
That's not even guaranteed. The most
right.
safety precautions you could do, it's not always going to equate to 100% success.
No, no. And you can talk to Justin, you can talk to any of these tree guys. They'll tell you it's not 100% safe, even by rigging and all that stuff. It can go the wrong way at any time. These trees are not meant to go certain ways. Sometimes trees want to go the way they want to go. And you can do it whatever way you want to make sure that it's going to fall one way, but it'll probably go the other way if it really wants to.
You have another near-death experience?
Oh, dude, I got all kinds of them. I mean, I've done some stupid stuff in my time. I mean, there's been stuff that really it makes you think after the fact. I built a house. The house I'm living in right now, I built all by myself. There's been many times I've been up on the roof on the rafters, and I hate to tell you, but I did it without being strapped in for probably 3/4 of it, and then after that, I was like, dude, maybe I should strap myself in. So and then after that, I actually put on my tree rigging belt and attached myself to my truck to where when I was doing the one side, putting up the metal, putting up the metal siding on it, I wouldn't slide off because I was worried at that point. Like, man, I did this all up here. I put all these 4x4s up here, the 2x4s. I put all the plywood on here and never thought about sliding off a 15-foot roof, and it makes you think, like, once you're up there and you get on that metal and you start to feel your feet slide, it really makes you think even more like, hey, maybe I should be attached somewhere because this ain't going to be right, And I did a lot of it by myself. I hate to say it, but I did a lot of building myself up here. And when you got a steep slope, it really makes you think even more. I don't know. It's one of those things. I mean, there's been lots of things that have made me realize in life. Like I said, nowadays I look at things differently and look at everything and say, even when I go to look at a job, a lot of customers will call me and look at a job, and I'll look at a job and I'll say, well, let me think about it. I'll get back to you and I'll get you a price if I'm going to be able to do it, instead of saying, yeah, I'll do that. I'll do it. No problem. Here's the price, and go ahead and do it. So yeah. You got something that maybe another one that throws people off?
I got 3 more. I got 3 more. To piggyback off of what you just said it to your last point, man, it's when you get older, there is truth to be said that you get wiser and you get more patient and you start realizing what your limitations are and what your abilities are, and just being smarter about what you decide to do. I mean, like, when you're young, you think you're invincible and it's like, yeah, I can do that. It's like too much confidence, and then you end up surviving it, but near death experiences. But sometimes those things can't, you can't avoid them, and it's not really necessarily your fault. Like, sometimes things happen, but look at this guy.
Look at this guy, Dad. What's going on, Dad?
He's about to have a near death experience in that truck.
He's in his old truck that's about 45 years old.
Yeah, that is a
brakes barely working it.
Josh, can you hear us? Oh, he's gone. Anyways,
he jumped off. He doesn't want to talk to us today.
He wants to let us know that he's alive. So I used to ride a motorcycle, and it was very short-lived. In 2009, like, I got my motorcycle's license. I did the whole course, and did it the right way. Went through a class and all that. And of course, me being young and stupid, my very first motorcycle that I bought was a track-ready motorcycle, like from the dealership, brand new. It was a 2009 Kawasaki Ninja ZX6R, and that thing was pretty decked out, like very, very fast motorcycle, zippy motorcycle. So, but to my story, it wasn't anything that I did that put myself in that situation. So, I rode around a little bit, didn't ride too much. I just kind of rode by myself. I was never really one of those groups that kind of got together. But I'm on a fairly busy street, and there was an intersection, and the intersection has the left. I was taking a left turn, so I was at the red light, and the directional turns green. So the green arrow specifically for me to take that left turn. So it was red. I was waiting, and the car in front of me going the opposite direction had a red light. So of course my light turns green, and being the only light that has the right of way, I start to take the left turn. So the lady that was paused at the red light, still continuously red, decides to start going just randomly, and the light was still red. It wasn't like it was yellow to red, it was just frozen like red, and she just decides to kind of go, and she almost clipped my motorcycle.
Jeez.
And kept on going, and I had to kind of crank the throttle to get away from her to hitting me. So in doing so, I'm leaning more so to the left. So as I avoided her, my bike is kind of teeter-tottering, and I'm trying to catch my balance. Now, in panic, the bike stalled, so I didn't have any power. And then I almost fell like, from the side there. And it
Right.
was, long story short, I was able to get the bike going again, and there was like a parking lot literally right there, because I was getting ready to go on the highway. And she just had no idea. I don't know. She just didn't stop. She just kept on going like if it was nothing out of the ordinary. She kept
Yeah.
on going. So
Wow.
I kind of parked my bike. I get off the bike, and your adrenaline's kicked in, and you're just like, you're all hyped up and everything. And I literally had to wait about a good half hour to 45 minutes to calm myself down. I wasn't freaking out, but just like I was not ready to get back on that bike again and drive and continue riding.
Right.
And I finally get back on the bike and get home after I finished doing what I was doing. And then literally, man, less than a year later, I ended up selling the bike. And I don't know if it was because of that situation. There's people that have experienced a lot more dangerous stuff like that, actually been in accidents before and continue riding. But I was like, man, this ain't worth it. Like, I don't ride too often. I mean, it's fun, but it's not something I really needed in my life. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm not that I'm afraid to do it again. I just didn't want anything to do with it anymore. So I ended up selling the bike, and I don't know, maybe it was that kind of changed my mind on it, but I just don't want to ever, risk the fact that, four wheels are going to be a lot more grounded to the ground than two wheels. All it takes is one little bump and you're gone.
Right.
So that was my approach to it. But yeah, for those that ride motorcycles, I'm sure some of you guys have had several experiences where you've been in a situation that could have been very risky like that before.
Yeah, dude, it makes you think. I mean, I guess riding on a motorcycle, I feel like it's dangerous. It's definitely dangerous because there's so many people that don't really see you because they just look for those four wheels in the car and they don't look for that bike. And dude, that could have been real bad. I mean, it really makes you think too. Like you said, do you really ride it enough? Do you really want that risk of, what are you going to do at that point? Yeah.
I know she didn't do it purposely, but it was almost like she was purposely trying to hit me like that. Like that's how close it was. And she was just oblivious. I don't have 0% of me thinks it was intentional. It was just, she was just oblivious to the whole situation.
Right. And that's the way a lot of them, that if you look at some of these crashes with the motorcycles, a lot of people say, well, I didn't see that motorcycle. I didn't see that person on that motorcycle. Because they don't, even with bikes. My mom got hit when she was riding a bike when I was younger, way younger. And the guy pulled out of a gas station as we were crossing, and he goes, I didn't see nobody on no bikes. And I'm like, how did you not see? There was two of us on a bike, but people don't realize that. They don't look. They don't, they're like, okay, I can go, There's so many accidents like that with bikes and motorcycles, and you know, it's weird. You know, it's one of those things that make you really think more about it when you get into those accidents like that. You know, Pimp Daddy down at the bottom, he has a couple things as he's trying to get us our coffee and our donuts.
Yeah, we sent him on a coffee run. That's why he's not on the
Yeah,
podcast right now.
he's getting us our donuts and our coffee. I'll take a caramel frap. Ooh, yeah, some
Yeah.
money on top of it. Yeah, I got money. I got plenty of money for you.
Hey, Wolverine, where's Deadpool?
Yeah. He's got a small head. Look at his hat. If you look at his hat, it's like pulled all the way to the end.
You got the Wolverine chops going right now.
Yep, he had to go get us some breakfast, guys. So
I know. The funny thing is, I know exactly where he's at.
yeah,
he's at the Chandler Street Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I'm not. I'm on Southbridge.
Oh.
Southbridge Street.
Southbridge.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see. I know where he's at.
Yeah. I over morning.
Goes every morning, he says.
Yeah, when he wakes up, he has a near-death experience.
Yeah. Yep. The dog over his face looking at him. Oh.
Yeah, you kind of off. It's kind of funny though, but you're kind of off and on, which is funny.
It makes it even funnier.
You guys hear?
Like this is gonna be a live near-death experience right now. You know what's funny? No. He's causing near-death experiences to other people while he's on the podcast and trying to talk to us and drive and drink a coffee at the same time.
Yeah.
There's like 6 cars behind him that crashed.
Yeah. Oh.
Can you guys hear?
Yeah.
That's funny as shit. No,
yeah,
we
now
can't hear you.
Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. We're
I
here.
just want to make sure you can hear me.
Yeah,
He's got like that Chinese, you know, the old Chinese movies, like the old Godzilla, where his mouth goes and then he says something.
You're very delayed.
I feel. I mean, I'm delayed. I know. Hold on.
He's mentally delayed.
It's because he didn't get his coffee this morning.
Is that better? Did you hear me now? Now.
Yes, we hear you now.
All right, so it's
Yes.
delayed.
Yeah, you're delayed.
This
Yep.
is awesome.
Yep, drink your donut, your Dunkin' donut.
Like we should have a camera follow Josh, right?
Yeah,
And
all
have
around.
it live stream 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. People will pay to watch what he does.
Yeah, definitely. I think like $39.99 an hour.
Yeah.
What's funny?
Definitely.
Anybody that comes to me and I'm like, "Fuck, not much going on. I'm not doing that again because it's funny. It's just like from everything I'm trying to get to the schedule. Don't be that shit.
It's
dude.
like 5 seconds of sound, 5 seconds of silence, 5 seconds of sound, 5 seconds of silence.
It's put your own word in the middle. That's what it is.
Oh boy. So Scott, what other story like a near-death situation you got?
All right, I'll tell you one. When I was very young, I was almost 21 years old. I worked for another company and I ran my own company. So I accidentally came home one day, was in a hurry to go out to go somewhere. So I came home from my first job, the company I worked for. Came back, I lived down this one street and got in my car, and I think I was going to get some food or meet my wife somewhere. And I left the street and I didn't look to the left enough. I swear I looked over there. I didn't see a car. I went to cross, turning to the left, and was sideswiped. The guy had hit me at 55 mile an hour, dragged me up the road a little bit, and I was pinned between the door and the middle console. I had a Eagle tail end, and literally there was probably 6 inches of seat left. I hurried up and crawled out of the car as other people had stopped and said, "Don't do it." And that put me into about 6 months of no work, therapy.
Wow.
And I have 47 screws and 7 metal plates across my hip, holding my hip together. So that makes you want to be safe when you turn. Make sure you're looking both ways. Like Josh is looking both ways as he's turning to get that coffee. But you want to make sure that you're always aware of where you're going and what you're doing and not be in a hurry to get that coffee, because that coffee is going to still be there in about 2 minutes.
Listen, he's not running errands. He's not running errands. He's currently being chased by the police.
Yeah, yep. Boston Metro's on his ass.
Hey, so you mentioned Eagle Talon, by the way, awesome car.
Yeah, it was for a while. I only had it for like a year and a half before I totaled it.
Same as the Mitsubishi Eclipses, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were not. It was a nice car, I'll tell you that much. I mean, I bought it brand new, but it was definitely destroyed.
Oh man. I'll give you my last two real quick, if that's cool. All right. Yeah. So speaking of car crashes, I was doing this emergency driver course.
Ooh. Yeah.
Where it was pretty fun. And it's like different events and stuff like that. So there's this particular event where it's like you have to simulate like an evasive maneuver.
Right.
I was a passenger though, so my friend was actually going through the course. Now, you were supposed to do the course at 50 miles per hour, but he forgot and then thought it was 60 miles per hour, which is almost impossible. And so we go, and as soon as he swears, he ends up losing control of the car. Now it's summertime, and all the windows are down, and we end up kind of like going off the road, and the car starts spinning in circles, like literally. Like I thought the thing was going to flip over, but as soon as it stops, there was this metal sign with a pole hanging out, and it literally almost entered the passenger side door, like this close to my head, before the car stopped. Now, had that like been a couple more inches, I would have been impaled with that freaking that metal bar. Like I was like, oh my god, like unbelievable, perfect time. Wow. And then the last one, Josh will like this one. I don't know if he remembers, but there was this roller coaster called Rocky Point. I mean, this theme park called Rocky Point. Josh, nod your head if you know Rocky Point. No. It was in New Hampshire. It was like kind of like a Six Flags Riverside type of park, amusement park, where they had like functions and stuff like that. And we were there for my dad's work. It was like a family fun day. Now they had this roller coaster called the Cyclone, which was 3 loops, 3 upside down loops. Yeah, you remember that now, I remember, right?
Canopy Lake.
Yeah, this no longer exists. They tore it all down. But anyway, so me and my sister, you know, we go on this roller coaster thing, and you know how like the roller coasters have the seatbelt that goes over your head and then it clicks, right? So the guy straps us in, and it's a solid like seatbelt over the shoulder thing where it clicks in and whatever, and you're safe. So, so I'm like, all right, cool. We go over the first loop, and then into the second loop, upside down. My seatbelt thing flies up in the air, and I'm like, you know, like holding on to dear life. My sister, who's next to me, is just grabbing on, like she literally has me like almost like in a headlock, and she's like holding my arm, and you know, prevented me from like falling off of this freaking amusement park ride, like upside down. Now we still had the other loop that we're going through. And somehow I ended up making it through the third loop, the final loop. And I was able to kind of grab the seat thing and then click it again and secure it. So when the guy initially set us up, I didn't think he got that full click. So I almost died as a kid falling off of a roller coaster, which is kind of crazy to think about. Yeah.
That sucked, dude. That would really suck. It really would, dude. I don't think I'd want to be part of that. Like, I think roller coasters, I mean, I've ridden some freaking massive roller coasters in my life, but dude, one of those ones that like some of those that flip over down anymore, I'm like, no. You know, I couldn't do it anymore, especially with my hip issues. I couldn't do a lot of that stuff anymore since I've been 21, but I've done some of that stuff, and you're just like, man, did he lock me in good? Like, did he push the thing all the way down? It makes you really think when you're putting your life in somebody else's hands, when they're like, okay, here, I'll buckle you in. I'll push this bar down for you. I'll make sure that you're going at the right speed. It really makes you think.
Yeah, for a minimum wage carny.
Yeah. Josh does that on the weekend, so just remember that. That's why he's called Pimp Daddy. So if you find him at the carny rides, his name is Pimp Daddy. He looks like Wolverine with a small head, but it works out. So, but yeah, yep, you and Beetlejuice, yep. But yeah, I mean, I think what you guys got to do, guys, is when you're out there, you got to really think about when you're doing stuff and how safe is it? You know, do you really need to be in a hurry to do things? Is it worth your life? That's the main thing about this whole episode is when something happens like this, where you're almost at that point where it cuts off a leg or it cuts off an arm or you fall off a ladder or you drive into the wall because you got that coffee, you know, you never know. So you got to really sit down and think about things afterward and how do you go about the rest of your life to make it positive and not be able to be in then death-defying areas. So I think that's what it really comes down to, guys. Take your time. You know, nothing's that in a hurry to get done. I mean, yeah, we get tons of jobs. Spring's always a rush. You're always in a hurry to get this stuff done, but take your time. It's going to get done. I mean, so what? You know, it might take an extra day or something or a couple hours. Readjust your day. You know, you can readjust anything you need in your life to make sure it's safe and productive.
Wear your PPE.
Yes, definitely. Always, especially when you're cutting a tree, you're cutting grass, man. I mean, make sure you got the right PPE when you're cutting grass. I mean, I'll tell you, here's one that I'll tell you. Actually, when me and my wife were younger, we went to go to Chicago to visit my cousin, and we were leaving that day. I had to go cut 1 yard. Okay. I had an old 36-inch walk behind at that point. Blades didn't shut off. You had to like pull the lever to turn them on and off, but you literally had to keep it on because with a bungee, you couldn't let go of the bungee or otherwise it would shut off on you. So I was mowing this yard, a commercial lot, and I was trying to get close to everything I could because I really didn't want to have to weed whip that day. I wanted to hurry up and get done. Get on the road with my wife and get to Chicago. We were going with a bunch of friends, going to meet my cousin. And I got too close to the telephone pole, and you have those guide wires that come down. You have the metal that comes down. It literally caught the metal on the guide wire and shot a piece of metal up into my eye. And literally, I didn't have safety glasses on. And literally, I had a piece of metal up in my eye, scratched the cornea of my eye. So what do? Do you not keep going or what? I finished that job holding my eye like this. I literally went to the doctors. They told me I had a piece of metal in my eye. I literally drove to Chicago that night with my hand over my eye like this, driving all the way to Chicago to make sure I could get to Chicago. Was it safe? Probably not. You know, it makes you really think, could I took the extra second and weed whip that? Yeah, probably could have. I mean, why do I need to get that close to something? You know, it makes you really think, do you really need to get that close to stuff? Like I said before, the ditches, like weed whip that stuff, get farther apart. I mean, you never know what's in the yard. I mean, take a second and weed whip that stuff. It's not worth losing an eye. And that's what I did. I almost lost an eye at that point. It makes you really think. And from that point on, I tell you what, I wear safety glasses. I'm mowing grass. I don't care if I'm on a mower. I got glasses on. I weed whip. I got glasses on. It makes you really think when you're doing stuff. Do you need the safety PPE? You know, PPE is good, but really, do you need it? You know, sunglasses are good. Safety glasses are good. Anything that protect your eyes as much as you can. Like look at Pimp Daddy down there. He's got safety glasses on while he's driving. I mean, it makes him, more perceptible to the sun coming into his eyes. So
Yeah, that's true too.
yeah. So
Absolutely.
remember, guys, always prepare and have your PPE. Anything else you want to add, JC? I know Josh is busy, with his coffee. So
No, so I know sometimes we get our viewers that are listening to us live, and we also get a lot of viewers that are actually out there doing jobs, listening to us on the podcast. And then lately, we've been getting a lot of YouTube views after the fact. So that being said, tell your friends to tell a friend. We would try to get some more support on the show. And if you have any comments, questions, requests for topics to discuss, or if you had any similar experiences in which your life was in the in danger for a mere in a mere moment, let us know what it is so we could all talk about it and discuss it. But yeah, pretty much. Thanks for continuously watching us and listening to us.
yeah, thank you all for watching us on anywhere you're watching us on. Remember, we're always live on the weekends. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Instagram. But like JC said, we're on YouTube all the time. You can go back to any episode, like it, subscribe, watch them. Tell us what you think about it. Put it in the comments or DM me or JC. Our names are right there. Pimp Daddy doesn't have one. So you can definitely email us or DM us at any time and let us know what you want to hear. We'd love to hear some more topics. Even if you'd like to be on the show, let us know. We'd love to have you on the show. We'd love to ask you some questions. We'd love to ask, your good, your bad, your worst times. I mean, that's all what this show's about. We want to know, straight to the point, what can be done to help you out or, make your life better or make anybody's life better. So definitely like us. Keep watching us, keep listening to us, and thank you all for joining us. Keep listening to us on Spotify.